Aloha, y'all. It is Saturn's Day, Saturday, the 15th of January. The moon is about literally to enter Cancer, so I'm just going to say it's in Cancer. It's at 29 degrees, 51 minutes out of 60 to Cancer. So in like 8 minutes, while I'm doing this, it's going to switch to Cancer. So we'll just say Cancer. The sun is in Capricorn. The moon is in Cancer, opposite. It's going to be a full moon in Cancer on Monday or Tuesday. I think Monday. Mercury's in Aquarius in retrograde. Venus is retrograding in Capricorn. Mars is in Sagittarius. Jupiter's in Pisces. Saturn's in Aquarius. Uranus is retrograding in Taurus. Neptune is in Pisces. And Pluto is in Capricorn with the North Node in Gemini. So, let's go ahead and pull some cards. I just finished Lost, the TV show. I had seen it before, like a decade ago. Most of it, if not all. But it was very helpful for where I'm at in my walk with life, love, and the pursuit of meaning. If you haven't seen Lost, it's well worth your time, just for the record. We've got the Princess of Cups. With the moon going into Cancer, Jupiter in Neptune and Pisces, with a full moon in Cancer coming up, with this energy already on lock. Not surprising this is coming on. And it is a princess or a page energy, so North Node in Gemini, still very mercurial and lighthearted. Princess of Cups is as follows. The airy, the intellectual, kind of mental, cognizant part of water, emotions, creativity, sexuality. This is sensitive and creative, open to psychic transmissions, unique perspective, dreamer. Princess of Cups, I offer you artistic beauty. A gentle, delicate being, the Princess of Cups is finely tuned to the watery world of emotions. Perhaps naively, she wants to believe that a utopia is possible, a world that is abundant with love, light, and peace. When she discovers the world can be a dark and deadly realm, the shock reverberates deeply into the core of her being until it's almost unbearable. How can human beings commit such acts of negligence, hatred, and terror? How can they embody so much anger and ill will? Her bandaged eyes symbolize the unwillingness to witness the suffering. Instead, she must look inwards. Her strategy is to develop a fantasy world populated by gentle, radiant beings and creatures who are continually moved to love, support, and nurture one another. A world where love is given and received unconditionally and all forms of life are affirmed and cared for. As a child of spirit, of the spirit world, where everything is evolving to its purest potential, she is able to commune with this vast domain of knowledge and accumulated karmic wisdom that for most remains unconscious. She therefore lives in both worlds and can be a powerful messenger, using her perceptive nature and sensitivity to visualize and evoke the archetypal transitions and journeying that we all face in life in an endeavor to come home and become whole. When we allow the hurts and challenges of life to make us more inspiring, loving, and beautiful human beings, we are walking the most miraculous of paths. This is the alchemical game of transforming our burdens, the ball and chain of life that we carry, into radiant possibilities, to move through life with grace, to not allow ourselves to be soured by sadness or held in the withering grasp of regret. And to not do that is a constant practice and one worthy of fully taking on. This card invites you to consider how a complaint, when looked at from a different creative angle, is transformed into a rich form of guidance. Right? Even your wounds are where the light enters, kind of thing. And to know that you have wounds and people are going to hurt you, like it knocks your utopian idealism out of the wind out of that at some level. But she's a rainbow warrior. See this? And she's an artistic shaman type psychedelic artist. Princess of Cups, the sensitive and creative, open to psychic transmissions, unique perspective, dreamer. So, given that we're having a full moon in Cancer, and the North Node is in the last minutes, days, really, of being in Gemini, it's a playful emotionality. But, life is serious. Capricorn conjunct Pluto right now, and Venus in retrograde in Capricorn. It's an intense moment of clarification, but that doesn't mean to lose hope and to use your creativity and your heart to get through it. That is how you rise above the circumstance that is. So, let me just put that there. All right. So, let's get a clarifying card. I leave in a day or two to go to the airport. I'm going to have to actually I don't have to. I guess I could rent a hotel room, but why waste the money? I'm going to sit in the airport for 24 hours, which is a long time. And then go hang out with my Nana for 2 weeks. Desire, number 20. Capricorn. Goat, totally being represented here. So let's check out what this clarification's all about. Hopefully y'all are doing well. Where are you at? Abundance, destiny, journey, emotions, desire. Keywords: desires, wants, dreams, ambition, goals, price, gestation, manifestation, consequences, and selfishness. Key phrases: what do you desire the most? How much do you want it? Desire compels action. Make another attempt. Great expectations, great disappointment. Ground your desires in reality. What you desire will have a price. Wishful thinking. Has your desire waned or changed? Let your conscience be your guide. To desire something at the expense of another, and selfish desire mirrors a lack within. And it's funny because this is this like sensual, desiring, creative person. We'll just say the Cancer moon position, Cancer full moon energy, and it's opposite all this, Pluto, Venus in retrograde, and Sun conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, where it's like desires are great, but are you grounding these in reality? Are you just dreaming? To desire, to wish or long for something, to lust or crave is to desire. In simple terms, desire means to want something. Desire is the fourth influence on choice, and when it appears in your reading, it is asking you to explore your desires and ask what it is that you want and how much do you want it. What are you willing to do in order to achieve your desires? Is desire the root of all suffering? Many religious texts state that desire is something that corrupts humanity and blinds us to our true purpose. However, desire is the state of mind that compels you to act and do whatever you feel is necessary in order to fulfill that desire, because you know that you will feel pleasure or be rewarded for fulfilling that desire. For example, you desire a glass of water. It is hot. You are thirsty. However, you are in the middle of the garden covered in mud and sweat, and the floor in the house has just been freshly cleaned. How much do you want that water? Glass of water? Vaso de agua in Spanish. What are you willing to do in order to have that glass of water? You could almost feel the coolness as it slides down your throat, washing away the parched dryness of your mouth. You know it is going to be so nice, and having that glass of water involves putting down your tools, halting your progress, cleaning yourself off, and taking off those muddy shoes, going inside, getting a glass, filling that glass, drinking the water, and then putting your muddy shoes back on before coming back out and getting back to work. Sun in Capricorn, work. But with the moon now in Cancer, basically, we're getting illumined with a full moon, the places that we need to be softer and more emotionally sensitive and nurturing to ourselves. It's like you might do better work if you actually hydrate. So how much do you want that glass of water? How much do you desire it? Do you want it enough to stop and do what needs to be done in order to have it now? Or are you more inclined to wait until the task in front of you is completed? And I would probably say that for myself. Could waiting also have consequences, like you pass out from dehydration and heat stroke? This is desire in action. Desire in action means believing that a particular outcome is good. It is worthy of our desire. It means valuing something as important and therefore worthy of our time and effort. It is desire that drives us to set goals and then act on them. It is desire that inspires us to keep going long after somebody else would have given up. And I definitely, with a Venus and Taurus conjunct my midheaven and north node, desire for me is a very strong motivator. Desire is what motivates you. Like it says, drives you, compels you to act, to take risks, and to make sacrifices with a smile, right? So if you realize that you're a creative being who's like here to beautify and express and engage life fully, even though you might get hurt sometimes and have to do the work, Capricorn energy, and get a bird's eye view, Mercury in Aquarius retrograde, you could still dream, Jupiter in Pisces. You could still have hope, Neptune in Pisces. It doesn't mean all work and no play, right? Your desires to be healthy are a healthy desire. Maybe you won't be that supermodel or the GQ man of the year or whatever, but your desire to be beautiful or comfortable or all these things, they're good. But then desires can become ultimate things, and then that's when it's not so good, right? So we have to kind of balance our creative naivete, our open optimism with the understanding what is driving us, what's motivating us, what's making us desire these certain things. Is it insecurities? Do you want to be liked because you don't like yourself? Do you want to have answers because you feel confused? Like that's for me. Like I want to do ayahuasca and some stuff like that because I honestly don't know what to do with my life right now. And maybe I could just fast for 40 days and not talk and do a vow of silence or whatever, and any number of things. But I find psychedelics to be a very bullet train to the perspectives needed. But even that is like, am I being naive about that? Am I just going to get covered in rainbow vomit, and have this crazy trip that looks like what I imagine it looks very DMT or ayahuasca-ish. Is this a desire coming from a good place or a bad place? Am I trying to find gnosis, or am I trying to, find structure in my life? the dragon of inspiration, right? Mars in Sagittarius. We're going to be pushed forward. Spiritual sovereignty, 103. Looks interesting art. It looks almost like a uterus. But spiritual sovereignty, Esasani, on page 142. Spiritual sovereignty, Esasani parallel timeline. Spiritual sovereignty is a place of complete balance. One walks in integrity, has completed unfinished business, confronted and owned the shadow, recognizes illusion, and knows the self intimately without judgment. From here, the person becomes free to feel the flow of the universe that is called synchronicity. This is an essential Esasani teaching. Once you are firmly rooted in an open-hearted life based on integrity and synchronicity, you become a fully realized being. This is a roadmap to awakening for individuals and Earth as a whole. If you haven't already, it is time to begin the journey. The Esasani species is a hybrid of human and Zeta and is a highly evolved species assisting Earth through its transition. Deep within the Esasani collective memory lie the healed lessons of the Zeta, Orion, and human species. Because these lessons were fully integrated, the outcome is a species of pristine consciousness capable of non-polarized thought and a catalyzing energy that propels others forward into their own process of integration. The concept of spiritual sovereignty is described well in the card text above, which I just read, but it is often a difficult concept for the mind to grasp. The human tendency is to think that something out there will bring us liberation or awakening. Ayahuasca, this tarot deck, this reading from a person, whatever. I mean, I do this too, right? This knowledge. The concept of spiritual sovereignty is described well, but it's a difficult thing to grasp. The human tendency is to think that something out there will bring us liberation or awakening, such as a specific meditation or process, a certain solfeggio frequency, a certain mineral that you ingest or not, or having the right guru. But unless we clearly see the false self and refuse to live as that illusion, true spiritual freedom will elude us, right? The false self, the fantasy self. Hopefully we're not, we are all walking on a dream, but hopefully we're realizing there's progress within that dream and not just holding on out of desire to be a perpetual Peter Pan. But we have an inner child to honor too, so it's a balancing act. And that is really the sun opposite the moon, right? There's work to do, but nurture yourself. Sun in Capricorn, moon in Cancer. But unless we clearly see that false self and refuse to live it, true spiritual freedom will elude us. The Esasani have broken through all illusion and achieved their spiritual sovereignty, and this potential is possible for humans as well. If you pull this card, it's most likely acknowledging your potential to do this too. This is a message of gentle encouragement, which is very Cancer full moon vibes. Gentle nourishment and encouragement. Encouragement to what? To do the work, to continue forward and do what is necessary to awaken beyond illusion. Conversely, the card may instead be a warning that your current path might not be leading towards sovereignty, but toward further illusion. Be really truthful with yourself. Go deep within and open yourself to seeing what you need to see for your highest good. If you need assistance, call on the Esasani energy to guide you, right? So I think in the pursuit of our dreams, the pursuit of our ideals, we have to balance that and understand where these motivations are coming from ultimately. That's how we know ourselves and have spiritual sovereignty. It's good for everybody to seek pleasure, but then you can become a hedonist and not actually have a structured life. Like your desires are overwhelming you. Even Buddha, like the root of suffering is attachment, unhealthy attachment, non-sovereignty attachment to fantasies and desires and stuff. But that does not mean fantasy and dream and imagination are bad things. We just, especially with the princess, the page energy, it's like a very immature way we're handling it. It's time to kind of level up. Instead of just finger painting naked on acid all day, it's like maybe write a book on finger painting and sell it so you can continue to do the things that you want to do, right? That kind of energy. But with all this color and good vibration, I think we are being encouraged to creatively pursue our ideals, and that is an act of spiritual sovereignty. Your desires are your desires for a reason. The desires of your heart, mind, and spirit are very particular to you. So never think that, a bunch of people who agree on the same thing might have very different desires or reasons for doing that thing. Like I always found that to be true within Christianity. It's like, yeah, we're all Christians, but some people are doing this because they don't want to go to hell. Some people are doing this because they met God and they feel like obligated to be a Christian or whatever out of obedience, like that kind of thing. Work. Guys, you can't even make this shit up, right? This is that Cancer moon and Jupiter and Neptune, where it's kind of like dreamy. And this is the Capricorn Sun conjunct Pluto, Venus in retrograde Capricorn. The work. There's work to do. Bring color to your work, but don't just sit there twiddling your thumbs forever. That's not the answer. And it's somewhere in the middle. Holler for a reading if you want to know, because everyone is so differently designed that it's not just one size fits all truths here. Beaver, work. To love your work is a gift. Find a balance between work and rest. It is worth aligning your work with your purpose if you can. Being positively mindfully engaged in your work, no matter what it might be, is healthy. Someone may be attempting to micromanage you at your job, and that this is not an optimum way to work. Perhaps it is time to be your own boss. Herd. Mythos. The Ojibwe First Nations people tell a story about the beaver. A beaver was speaking with other animals and was telling them how happy he was about his life, North and Gemini, communicating with others. Look, bird, how fluffy my tail is. It's so fluffy, is it not? Asked the beaver. The bird looked at the beaver's very fluffy tail and said, sure, it's very nice, but seemed dismissive to the beaver, right? Very kind of Sun and conjunct Pluto. It's just like, whatever. The beaver then went to the muskrat. Do you like my tail, muskrat? Is it not beautiful and thick with fur? Right, he's painting this ideal picture because his desire is to be valued for his tail, which you'll find out in a second, for aesthetic reasons as opposed to functional reasons. The beaver went to the muskrat. Do you like my tail, muskrat? Is it not beautiful and thick with fur? Muskrat said, yes, but is it a strong tail? Capricorn conjunct Pluto? Is it, the beaver was puzzled. I asked you if you thought my tail was beautiful, not strong. The muskrat just shook his head and walked away, saying, who cares if your tail's beautiful or not? The beaver was upset with the animals he had spoken to and went back to cutting trees for his dam. As he was thinking about how rude the other animals had been to him, he misplaced a cut and the tree fell on his tail. The beaver wiggled his tail out from under the tree and saw that the weight of the tree had flattened it and removed the fur. Venus retrograde in Capricorn. It was black and leathery now, not necessarily beautiful. The beaver sat on the sandy shore and cried heartily. Moon in Cancer. Oh, I'm going to be all emotional about this. He cried so loudly that the creator himself came to comfort him. The beaver said to the creator, oh, creator, look what happened to my tail. It is flat and ugly now. And the creator said, his desire was not to have a flat and ugly tail, but his spiritual sovereignty comes through this transformation. And the creator said, it is not ugly and is more useful now. Capricorn Sun. Now you will be able to swim so much more strongly. And the beaver considered this and realized that this was true. It would actually give him more power and sovereignty, but thought that his friends would not care for him anymore. The creator smiled and said, no, beaver, your tail is not why your friends love you. They love you for your hard work and industry and for your kindness and goodness. Your tail has nothing to do with it. And with that, the beaver was satisfied. Beavers feature in many mythos of the First Nations, the Americas, Canada, Inuits, and Norse. On page 108. The animal. The beaver is an incredible transformational force upon the landscape. They can divert rivers and waterways and construct dams that create flooded areas, pools, and ponds that enable fish to breed and certain plants to flourish. They're engineers. Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius. They're engineering their environment, the world, Capricorn Sun. Besides humans, they are most probably the most powerful architects of landscape on the earth. To do all this changing of the landscape, beavers need to be industrious and work hard. They seem always to be active and busy, literally cutting down trees with their powerfully sharp teeth, which continually grow, and using their hands to move heavy objects and shape mud. They do this to dam areas so they can build their lodges, working through the night and day. The interior, working through night and day, Pluto conjunct Sun in Capricorn. The interior of their lodges do not freeze hard in the winter because of the nature of their construction, with air pockets above the pile of branches and sticks and the insulating effect of snow. Beavers share their lodges as monogamous pairs with their kits. They are territorial and will defend their territories. Moon in Cancer. They love their families and will fight for them with the crab claws. They are strongly built and weigh in an average of 25 kilograms and are the second largest rodent on Earth after the capybara. Their tails in particular are a great asset, the rounded, flat shape being able to propel them very quickly in the water, but also giving them good balance on land. Beavers are very agile underwater and able to stay there for up to 15 minutes if threatened, although they usually spend only a few minutes at a time as there is always work to do. Capricorn Sun. Magic. When you find it hard to motivate yourself or when things are not working out with your career or work situation, Beaver energy can help. When you need help finishing a physical project or attracting good craftspeople, call upon Beaver magic to assist. Symbology, a beaver lodge, paddle-like tail, beaver teeth. Status is of least concern. But in a sense, the beaver wasn't even fully themselves, him or herself, I guess is a he beaver in this story, but the beaver wasn't, and this almost looks like a beaver tail somehow, I'm seeing that, don't ask. Their sovereignty was actualized when their tail was functional. It was beyond just their desire of aesthetic, right? Their desire to work was now met, and it was balanced. So just to be beautiful and this I'm this sweet, pretty young thing, and I will make your dreams come true, and I'm this nymph of psychedelia. That's got its place, but you can't just be a Tinkerbell acid fairy or whatever. There's work to do, and sovereignty to gain, and that might be a stage in your process. I imagine there's a stage in all of our processes, but you can't just stay there forever. I mean, let's just say you're a sun conjunct Jupiter in Pisces 12th house or something. You're always going to be this way. But, like it's good to dream, but put that dream into action, or else it's just desires of the heart or desires of the mind not being actualized. And that is what the journey towards sovereignty is all about, actualizing desire. In a healthy way. You play with fire and get burned, so you realize, oh, I desire to look at porn, or I desire to get drunk, or whatever it is, and you'll learn through that experience that there's pros and cons to that too. And it's not even that desire is bad. There's just like, you don't want to live for the insatiable desire. And I've been there as an addict type. I get it. This is very Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. Sophie Calle is our artist. Let's go ahead and see what she has to give us advice-wise. What can we learn from Sophie? Sophie Calle, and Calle, C-A-L-L-E, is street in Spanish, interestingly enough. Sophie Calle's media includes photography, text, video, voyeurism, oversharing, and unlawful invasions of privacy. In one of her first projects, The Sleepers, she found 23 people to sleep continuously in her bed in consecutive 8-hour sessions that included them being photographed and interrogated. So it's like, this was her work, but it's very weird, kind of far out stuff. Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, using technology. For The Shadow, she had her mother hire a private detective who surreptitiously followed Cal, unaware that she was aware of that fact. So she was like, it was very meta. It's like, they're following me, but I know that, but they don't know that kind of thing. Very Alfred Hitchcocky. In Address Book, Cal called strangers from a found address book, asking about its owner and publishing the transcripts as part of an imagined portrait of the man, very Mercury in Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius, who found out and freaked out. Venus in retrograde Capricorn. He's like, oh, my world's falling apart. People think of me poorly and differently now. And for her 2007 Venice Biennale exhibition, Take Care of Yourself, Moon in Cancer, self-nurturance, Cal asked 107 women, including herself would be 108, which was that Esasani page and a very sacred Buddhist number, 107 women to interpret a breakup letter she received. The prosecution rests. Capricorn Sun, the verdict, the justice is rendered. It says, invade neighboring states of privacy. So I think our dreams at best link us with other ways of being, show us other possibilities, other things to desire, other jobs to do, other ways to be in the world, right? And that creates a sense of spiritual sovereignty. Ultimately, as she's saying, invade neighboring states of privacy. I think we need to take off our blinders. She's got a blinder on her eyes, right? This lady's got a blinder on her eyes. I think we can be blind but still see from what? The heart. And when we come from the heart, we know what work to do, and we know how we're being childish, and maybe some of our desires are unhealthy and some are healthy. And this leads to what? Spiritual sovereignty. A well-balanced, kind of grounded, open place. Let's get a stone. Ooh, this is really pretty. We got Jet. Jet, what it is, let me put these cards away. Jet is, I mean, they're all pretty. I'm not like a dwarf of the mines of Moria or anything, so I'm not obsessed with gems and stones, but I appreciate the world we live in. Jet, what it is, earthy and grounding, very, Capricorn Sun. This true black mineraloid variety of coal is an ancient fossilized driftwood. Who needs it? Empaths and witchy types, very Cancer Moon. Jupiter and Pisces. Where to put it? To clear a physical space or your body of uninvited vibes, right? To claim back your sovereignty spiritually, if that's what you desire. So uninvited vibes, swipe Jet over the affected area and tell toxic energies, spirits, and tensions to peace out. It's magic in action. Capricorn Sun, like you're doing the work, but you're commanding it. So be it, very Mars and Sagittarius. When to use it? When asking for guidance from elsewhere, think a seance, guided meditations, hardcore tarot sessions, ayahuasca journeys. Jet can make the edge off of high vibe stones like moldavite and serpentine, and is a wise old friend to bring as your +1 wherever your triggers are sure to be on the guest list. This is Claim Your Space, which is about sovereignty. It is natural desire to explore. It's natural desire to stay safe. It's not, we have all these conflicting desires, but we're here to do the great work. We're here to become more of ourselves, right? And we do that by dreaming big and invading neighboring states of privacy, to turn your channel to different channels. You might have always watched the Nature Channel in your life, and then it's like, turn on Sci-Fi. Wow. Turn on History Channel. Wow. Turn on MTV. I'm just giving you an example. It's like, expand your vision by going inward in a sense, and ultimately claiming your space. with being that sovereignty, right? So let's go ahead and play some music. I have told you I'm going to play my electric guitar because I am traveling. Soon I won't have my electric guitar, so more electric. And with my finger, I cut off my fingernail, or it fell off. I didn't cut it off. It's sensitive, so I'm trying to like play, but it's not quite where I want it to be. But whatever. I will live. You will live. I just don't, this instrument is very different for expression, Princess of Cups, than is an acoustic. And as I'm going to be singing acoustic songs for the next few weeks, this is my opportunity to jam and feel how I feel about it. All right, so with the Sun in Capricorn and the Moon in Cancer opposite, the full Moon in Cancer, we have work to do, but it's about spiritual release. It's about spiritual clarification and finding what really satiates us. And not just our egos, but our souls. So I'm in tune. All right. Princess of Cups. Let's Princess of, like the Page of Cups, basically, as the card of the day. Let me make sure. With the Page of Cups, the Princess of Cups, the Sun in Capricorn, and the Moon in Cancer, like, it's about having structure and doing the work, claiming your space, right? Claiming your time and place, being sovereign, but not letting go of the dream, making sure your dreams and desires are in check with the work, making sure that you're checking out other options that you might have been blind to just because you've been so committed to your dream. There's a world out there beyond your blinders, and then at the same time honor what you're resonating with, right? Emotionally. You don't want to just do things because they're popular. You don't want to just do things because someone else told you to do them. That's not the most sovereign thing to do, but you want to be open to other, it says, invade neighboring states of privacy. You want to check out other reality tunnels, and you could do that in many ways. Closing your eyes, meditating, doing psychedelics, having great conversations. As a Gemini, these are the ways I do it. But claiming your space with Jet is how you create partly the spiritual sovereignty, and then, checking your desires up and against, like the full moon opposite the sun, and from Cancer full moon into Capricorn Sun. It's like, are your desires only for pleasure and like fantasy, or are you doing the work too? Are you only doing the work, or are you letting in some vacation time? And that's kind of the energy we're trying to claim right now. So claim your space, dream big, do the work, and just see where life takes you. Know that nothing that you're meant to experience will pass you up, but that doesn't mean every experience is positive. It's like some suffering leads to wisdom that, just eating ice cream and cake won't do. So hopefully that makes sense. Have a beautiful Saturn's Day. Holler for readings if you want. $33 for an hour of cards, $88 for 3 hours of astrology, $111 for both. So it's a day with Jim if you want for $111. Getting all your magic on, gnosis on. And I will try to be doing this while I'm in Alabama, but I don't even know how many decks, if any, I'm taking, and probably an acoustic guitar, stuff like that. Hopefully you're enjoying the electric while I've got it. I know I am. A little sketchy with the finger situation, but I made it work. The work card, right? And now we've got a little thing that never existed before. And actually there was even Mercury Retrograde, some mistakes I was making in there harmonically, but I worked through them and used them anyway. So life happens. Enjoy the ride. Try to find the others. Love yourself. Love others. All that jazz. And do it well. Saturn's Day. Adios.